Hello everybody, this is Falling to Bob here, and welcome to Willow Springs International Raceway. For the first time in the season, we're seeing cars on track. Today is Bangcoaches qualifying, where we'll be determining who starts in which one of the boring duels, which will be in a couple days. We'll be doing this in the form of group qualifying, where we'll send 4 cars out at a time, and each car will set the fastest lap time possible. Those who qualify on the front row will keep their starting positions for the main race, and earn 2 bonus points. Everyone else will simply know which duel they'll be in and where they'll start. So without further ado, let's begin. Here we go for the first round of group qualifying for today. In this round we've got Mr. Lighty, Reed Sorensen, Mommy, and Quinn Half. So this is our first round for the day, and we're gonna see who gets what time. That's right, Mr. Lighty is back once again. He's been racing for quite a while, but this season may or may not be his last, but we'll have to see where that goes later in the season. However, he is here today at Willow Springs, followed up by Reed Sorensen. You can see there's some parts of this right that are quite technical. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys navigate around here to get the fastest time. These are some of the slowest cars in the whole field, so we'll have to see how fast these guys are. Quinn Half, the new driver of the Sarcom Racing 00, a rookie in the Cup Series. And here comes Mr. Lighty around the final bend, about to set a lap time. So Mr. Lighty will set a time of a 1 minute 17.822, followed up by Reed Sorensen with a 1 minute 17.758, followed up by Mommy with a 1:17.693, and rounding out the group qualifying, Quinn Half with a 1 minute 17.804. Alright, that completes the first round of group qualifying. Let's bring out the next group. Coming around the final bend is our second round of group qualifying. This time we've got Danger 6, followed up by Bubba Wallace, followed by NROL Racing teammates Derper and Mr. Lighty's brother. Alright, so let's see what these guys can do. Danger 6, he's of course brand new to this track, but then again a lot of these guys are. Danger 6 back for a second season after not a very notable one last year. This might be more notable. And of course right behind him is Bubba Wallace. He's now a sophomore driver, still driving for Richie Petty Motorsports though. And they have Derper in his second season for Snail Racing, and Mr. Lighty's brother, doing the usual Snail Racing duties. So Bubba Wallace doing his thing, as the other guys, just going around this track. And pretty soon Danger 6 will be crossing the line. And here he comes, Danger 6 coming around to complete his qualifying run. And he will get a time of 1 minute 17.493, followed by Bubba Wallace with a 1 minute 17.467, followed by Derper with a 1 minute 17.744, and rounding out the group is Mr. Lighty's brother with a time of 1 minute 18.57. So somehow his flying lap was worse than his warm-up lap. Not sure how that's possible, but there you have it. Alright, let's bring on the next guys. And here is our next group of qualifying. Yes, we have Eric Amarola, Kurt Busch, and Ross Chastain, and Austin Dillon. I do apologize for my freezing up there. I lost my train of thought for a bit there. But yes, here is the next round of qualifying. I know that doesn't really make, well, you get the point. So Eric Amarola back once again in his second year as Stuart Haas. And of course we also have Kurt Busch in his second year at well, this is technically his first full year at Ganassi, because last year he split between Stewart Haas and Ganassi, but this year he's running fully at Ganassi. Except, speaking of Ganassi, we have Ross Chastain in a Ganassi affiliated car. This is the number 77 for brand new team Spire Motorsports. However, for this race, they're getting some backing from Ganassi, so this car is going to have a little bit more power for this race. And a couple others this year. And with Austin Dillon, who is back at the number 3 car once again. So coming off the final turn is Eric NROL, as he will complete his flying lap. And he will get a time of 1 minute 17.426. Followed by Kurt Busch with a 1 minute 17.522. Followed by Ross Chastain with a 1 minute 17.678. And Austin Dillon with a 1 minute 17.951. So some pretty decent times from all these guys. Let's bring on the next group. And here comes Eric Jones, ready to begin the next round of group qualifying. Followed up by Alex Bowman and Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Blaney. Eric Jones back at Joe Gibbs once again. He didn't have the most stellar of years last year, but he's back nonetheless and ready to try again. And of course we also have Jimmy Johnson now in his retirement year, but he's going to give it one last go this year. Alex Bowman back at Hendrick Motorsports, so ironically enough we have 200 cars in this same session. And Bowman in that Valvoline car. Very nice looking car. I'm sure everyone can recognize what it's based on. And finally we have Ryan Blaney, who is back at Team Penske. And Menard's got a new paint scheme this year. So coming through the final bend. Okay, now the final bend. Eric Jones as he completes his flying lap. It's a bit of a tricky course, but it's an interesting one nonetheless. And Eric Jones, the time of a 1 minute 17.381, followed up by Alex Bowman with a 1 minute 17.384. Very close times. Jimmy Johnson with a 1 minute 17.583. And finally, Ryan Blaney with a time of 1 minute 17.376. So some of these, couple of these guys got slightly worse laps than their warm-up laps, on their flying laps, but oh well. Let's bring on the next batch. And here comes Rebecca leading an all-Ford round, followed up by Duck, Joey Logano, and Clint Bowyer. So Rebecca in her sophomore season now, and she's got a paint scheme change from last year. Not an entirely new design, but there are quite a lot of changes. Yes, there's actually been some changes to this paint scheme between the last time that you saw it back in the special races. However, this paint scheme will remain for this whole season. Anyway, of course, the rookie stripes have been removed because Rebecca now a sophomore driver. It'll be interesting to see what she can do in her second Cup Series season. And behind her is Duck, back once again. Business as usual for him. Also got Joey Logano, who is business as usual for him at Team Penske. And Bowyer is business as usual for him at Stewart Haas. So coming around final bend is Rebecca. So it's going to be fun to see how she can do for this year. And here she comes out of the final corner. And she will set a time of a 1 minute 17.541, followed up by Duck with a 1 minute 17.385, followed by Logano with a 1 minute 17.301, and Clint Bowyer with a 1 minute 17.370. So some pretty solid lap times from all these guys. Time to bring on the next group. And getting ready to begin the next qualifying round is a driver that a lot of people are going to be talking about this year. It is Russell David, a rookie who Had a pretty decent-ish season last year in the Siemens National Series. However, as the plan would suggest, Russell is now in the Skittles Cup Series, driving for the Wanderlei Bobbin Motorsports. It's going to be quite interesting to see what he can do this season. Meanwhile, bottom we have Donald, who is back once again for another season as per usual. And here is another rookie sensation, Tyler Reddick. He also had a pretty good year in the Siemens National Series last year, and he too has now stepped up to the Cup Series and is ready to show what he can do here for the Skittles Racing. And finally, we have yet another rookie in Cole Custer. That is right. I actually forgot to introduce the drivers here, but yeah, essentially this round we have Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, Donald, and Russell David. Alright, so Russell here is just making his way around the track, setting the fastest time that he can, of course. This is a qualifying session, so it's about set the fastest lap time that you possibly can. There's Donald now going through the bend. I think we're coming up to the final straightaway here, as Russell just had to get the final corner correct, and here he comes, and he will set a lap time of a 1 minute 17.378. Followed up by Donald, who will say a time of a 1 minute 17.446. Alright, and we have Tyler Reddick, who has a lap time of a 1 minute 17.318. And finally, Cole Custer with a 1 minute 17.326. So Russell with the slowest, actually not the slowest time, never mind, I messed up. Pretty fast time, but not as fast as these other guys. Anyway, that wraps up that round. Let's bring on the next batch of guys. And off of the final corner, we've got the next round of qualifying. We've got some new teams and some new drivers. One of these is the rookie sensation of Christopher Bell, driving for Levine Family Racing. Of course, Christopher Bell won the previous season's Siemens National Series Championship, so it's gonna be interesting to see how he can do this year. Also got Ryan Preece racing for JG Daugherty Racing, another driver that did pretty good in the Siemens National Series last year, despite running part-time. We also got Matt DiBandetto, or Guido, as a lot of people like to call him, or as his nickname goes, driving for the Wood Brothers, replacing Paul Menard. And finally, we have Chris Buescher racing for Roush Fenway Racing. Now, last year this team exclusively raced in the Siemens National Series, however, they decided to shut down the Siemens National Series team, and now they're here in the Cup Series once again after taking a little bit of a hiatus. And here comes Christopher Bell. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the rookies do this year. Got a pretty good rookie class this year, so it should be fun. Here comes one of these rookies, Christopher Bell, and he will set a time of a 1 minute 17.298, followed up by Ryan Preece with a 1 minute 17.379, followed up by Guido with a 1 minute 17.256, and Chris Buescher with a 1 minute 17.469. Nice. With that being said, let's bring on the next group for qualifying. Here we go for the next qualifying round. For this one, we've got Nia, followed up by Douglas, Gridrin, and Ryan Newman. So I just realized we have three engines from the island of Sowas, and we have Ryan Newman. So let's talk about these guys. So first up, we have I guess we'll talk about these guys for a bit. So we have Nia, who, for one thing, she's got a with a updated design. I say updated because it's not necessarily an entirely new design, but it is an updated one. There are changes from last year, so yeah. So not a new paint scheme, just an updated one that already existed. And of course, next we have Douglas, who's back once again, and Gridrin as well. Busy for him. However, next up we have Ryan Newman. Now, last year he didn't really do much at Richie Childress Racing, but I guess he was better than some other guys. This year, however, he's driving for Roush Fenway Racing, a team that, like I said, for Buescher, was on a mini hiatus, and now they're back, and they also have Ryan Newman as their driver. Let's come on the final corner. And of course, I should mention that Nia, of course, Noble Wiki Stripes, she's now a sophomore driver. And here she comes, and she will set a lap time of a 1 minute 17.522, followed up by Douglas with a lap time of a 1 minute 17.369. Nice. And of course, behind him we have Gridger with a 1 minute 17.275, and Ryan Newman with a 1 minute 17.873. So a pretty bit of a slow lap time on Ryan Newman, but oh well. That completes this round of group qualifying. Let's bring on the next guys. And here we are for the next round of group qualifying. I say round, it's really just the next batch of guys, but I think you know what I'm talking about. So this round we have Percy Serp and Tim Tom and Brad Kozlowski and Kyle Larson. Alright. So, yeah, so well enough, we have a pair of best friends in Percy Serp and Tim Tom, as they are back once again for another year of getting down to business here in the NROL Skills Cup Series. And of course we have Brad Kozlowski, who's back at Team Penske for business as usual, and Kyle Larson is now back at Chip Ganassi Racing for another year with them. Now Larson, he actually won a race last year and did pretty good early in the season, but then he fell off as the season continued. So will Kyle do better this year, or could he go into downward spiral once again? Well, we'll have to see. Here comes Percy Serp making his way around the final bend. And Percy Serp will come across the line with a... He comes with a 1 minute 17.254, followed by Tim Tom with a 1 minute 17.350, and Brad Kozlowski with a 1 minute 17.417, and finally Kyle Larson with a 1 minute 17.349. Alright, so we don't have too many cars left to qualify, so let's bring on the next batch. And here comes the drivers in this next round. One of these is Oliver, who is back at Solus Motorsports number 2. Last year, he actually made the playoffs here in the Skills Cup Series. Didn't do much with it, but it was something, I guess. And of course, we have Denny Hamlin also made the playoffs, but didn't do much with it. He didn't actually win any races at all last year, I don't think. Or maybe he did, I don't remember. But either way, let's hope he can do more this season. And of course, behind him is Kevin Harvick. Also a very quiet driver last year, but also a very good one, as it turns out. And here is the real Xbox nerd. Now, the real Xbox nerd, he did make the playoffs last year, and he won a couple races, although as soon as he got to the playoffs, he fell off like a rock. It was kind of unfortunate. So let's hope he can do more this year. And here comes Oliver. Yes. On the final bend. It is quite interesting to see how these guys navigate this track. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing these guys in actual race when we begin. Anyway, speaking of getting around, Oliver is now coming around to complete his timed lap with a 1 minute 17.502, followed by Denny Hamlin with a 1 minute 17.438, followed by Kevin Harvick with a 1 minute 17.344, and finally the real Xbox nerd with a 1 minute 17.356. Alright, it'll be interesting to see what these guys stack up later on with the rest of the field. We're almost over the qualifying, so let's bring on the next group. Second to last group in group qualifying, and leading the charge this time is William Byron. I should say leading the charge in this, you know what I mean. Followed up by Kyle Busch and Bangcoaches and Chase Elliott. Now, those guys had pretty good seasons last year. William Byron winning the Rookie of the Year, and Kyle Busch he made the playoffs and won a couple races. Bangcoaches he also won a couple races and made the playoffs. And Chase Elliott, despite not winning any races, he made the playoffs as well and was Very quiet last season. Maybe Chase Elliott though can make it a little bit more noise this season. We'll have to see. And same for William Byron as well. Maybe he can even get it. Maybe he can win a race. But you know how it is. And of course, Bangcoaches is back. Everyone's a fan of Bangcoaches. Yes, sir. Especially since this is Bangcoaches qualifying. Anyway, here comes William Byron around the final corner. And he will set a time of a 1 minute 17.355, followed by Kyle Busch with a 1 minute 17.329, Bangcoaches with a 1 minute 17.397, and Chase Elliott with a time of a 1 minute 17.372, which is somehow a little bit slower than his warm-up lap, but that's okay. The flying lap is the only lap that counts. Although if you're slower on your flying lap than you are on your warm-up lap, then might be a little bit alarming. Anyway, we've got one more batch of cars, so let's get them out here. And here we go for the final batch of cars. This time, it's a duel between Martrix Jr. and Fronito Bobbin. That's right, your defending champion is qualifying alongside of Martrix Jr., the 2017 Cup Series champion. So you got a pair of champions and well-accomplished drivers in just this one session. Yeah. So Martrix Jr., of course, doing his thing, along with Fronito Bobbin doing what he does best as well. Will Fronito Bobbin be able to go 2 in a row and capture a 4th championship this year? Well, we'll have to wait and see. The competition, though, is a lot more tight this year, so it might happen, it might not happen. We'll have to wait and see. Here comes Martrix Jr. Now going through the final bend. It's quite a long bend, broken up by a little bitty straightaway. And a rather interesting corner exit here. And here comes Truex off the final turn onto the front straightaway, and we'll say time of a 1 minute 17.381. And here comes Fronito Bobbin with a 1 minute 17.300. I think that's the fastest time of the day. I'm not too sure. But now that the final round of qualifying is complete, let's now go see where everyone ended up. And there you have it. Percy is your pole sitter for the race. What a way to start the season. After being quite irrelevant last year, Percy will start the year with a bang. We'll show the rest of the results in a moment, but I'm sure the Endes of Soas are happy for their friend. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, if you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in whatever I make next.